All right, let's let the craziness begin. We're going to be taking a look at another knife from Kansept Knives today, this time in collaboration with Koch Tools. This is the KTC3. Oh man, this thing is so friggin' cool. And I hate that I eliminate the surprise, unfortunately, by doing my photography at the beginning of each video, because sometimes I really would just like to pop something out of the box and completely shock and surprise everybody, because I think this is one of those knives that would certainly do that, because it's not like anything else that you would normally suspect, especially if you're used to just buying kind of run-of-the-mill everyday EDC knives, right? This thing is wicked, and it's cool, and it's different, and it feels really, really good in the hands. So yeah, spoiler alert, I really like this knife. Now, let's get into the basics. So the KTC3 Flipper is a collaboration with Koch Tools, and it sells for $180. Now, I don't think I even need to get into who Koch Tools is. Walk into Blade Show Atlanta and look for the area with the most amount of people, and it's often going to be at their tables. Yeah, it's not too uncommon for huge legacy names making ultra-rare handmade customs, but many of the knives that people are fighting over here are production knives and other random EDC items that they offer, because even their production knives are limited and sell out really, really quickly. Whether it's knives or pocket tools or lanyard beads or random art, the collectors love everything that they make, and they buy it all up feverishly. Now, if you want an affordable knife from them, and you don't want to have to sprint from the second the doors open at a big show to run to their table, then a production knife like something made by Kansept here is the best way to go. The KTC3 Flipper is a truly wicked looking design with really great attention to detail. Now, you might look at this and go, well, Jim, you kind of picked a plain Jane version here. It's, no fancy materials. It's just bead blasted titanium and the stonewashed blade. What do you mean attention to detail? There's a lot going on here. The swooping lines that are beveled into this frame kind of give the illusion of like waterfall motion. There's something about it that has a really nice organic flow to the whole thing. The double fuller, milled into the aggressive Hawkbill shaped blade, adds an even more aggressive character, and the pocket clip is among my favorite pocket clip designs in the entire industry. Now, if you want to be a serious baller, grab the Damascus variation of this knife. It looks amazing, and you certainly couldn't call that boring or plain or anything else. Also, the entropic anodized design also is pretty close to looking like the Damascus. You've got that crazy lightning burst pattern going through it, and lots of colors like Damascus or Mokutai. So if you can't afford to get the Damascus, because that's like $4.50 or something like that, or maybe it's already all sold out, then grab the Entropic. And I think that is a reasonable substitution for a significantly lower price. Now, this is another one that I would say, boy, I wish this knife was also offered in an XL larger design. Because while it feels really good in the hand at this size, and it looks really good, I think it's such a mean and overbearing and aggressive design like this would look really, really intimidating if it were larger. But those that live in restrictive states will love being able to get a badass design like this that isn't illegal for them to own, because this is under a 3-inch blade. A lot of the states that have restrictions will be somewhere around a 3-inch maximum blade length restriction, unless it's California, and I think it's even less. I think isn't that 2.5 inch? Anyway, your overall length here, let's go ahead and get into the specs. 6.67 inches with a blade length, again, of 2.69 inches. The stock thickness is 137 thou, with a weight of 3.88 ounces. Now, another thing that they did really good on this, see if we can zoom in here and see it. Does it say it here on the back side of the blade? It should. No, they have hidden it somewhere. Where have they hidden the blade steel designation? Am I missing it somehow? Yes, I am missing it somehow. Anyway, it is S35VN. Now, they could have done M390 like everybody else, and I'm certainly a fan of M390. I don't have anything against it. The only thing is, we're so tired of hearing every production knife that comes out, M390, M390, M390. It is the Me Too steel of all production knives. And it gets old after a while. Now, again, M390 is a great steel, especially for an EDC and everyday carry knife, but S35VN has paid its dues. It has proven itself to be a fantastic steel over, I don't know how many years it's been now. It's been so long. You know, it paid its dues with the Sebenza. And the only thing anybody's ever really said about S35VN that they weren't a fan of was on the Sebenza, because Chris Reeve Knives has, for some reason, they've always decided to heat treat it on the low end. So it was like a 59 HRC, which S35VN can go higher. And, you know, they're a couple of points below its optimal range. So I don't really know where Kansept is doing it, because they don't list any of that information on their website, and I don't see it in my investigations into other websites that carry the knife. So I can't even guess as to what the Rockwell hardness is. But I mean, even if it was just 59 and it puts it equal to the performance of a Sebenza, are you really going to complain about having a $180 knife that looks this crazy that could match the performance of a Sebenza? I don't think so. The other thing that I like here is this duplex grind. And what's interesting about this is this is not easy to do if you were hand grinding it. Obviously, these are not hand ground, or they wouldn't be only $180. But what's interesting about this is you have this thicker, more reinforced edge back here, and then it's going to get thinner from the halfway point all the way to the tip, which is going to make it more slicey as we go down that edge toward the tip. Which makes sense, because this reverse style of duplex grind is my personal favorite. It's the way that I've done it when I do duplex grinds on the knives that I make, because you're eliminating that speed bump. Let's say you had a compound grind. So let's say this was hollow ground and this was flat ground. Let me just make sure that this is not a hollow to flat. It's not. It's two flats. That's what I thought. What would happen is this separation here in between the bevels would be a hard line that goes in this direction. So you'd be cutting something and it could actually snag, depending on who put the edge on. If the edge is done right, it shouldn't be interrupted at all. But if you're cutting into a thicker material where that material gets up onto the blade as you're cutting it, yes, it can definitely snag and get stopped there. Not necessarily talking about the edge, talking about cutting into a thicker material. With this, that ledge drops off. So you're actually dropping down a step instead of trying to go up a step. And it just drops off and you can just keep on slicing, keep on cutting. And that makes a lot of sense if you're going to do a double grind on a Hawkbill style knife. With this, that ledge drops off and it makes for a seamless cut going all the way up that edge toward the tip, which makes a lot of sense for a Hawkbill style blade, the way that it's curved, the way that it's shaped, and the way that you're inherently going to be cutting with it. So, do I think this is a good way to spend $180? Yeah, to be honest with you, for sure. It's a really well-designed knife. It looks great. It feels great. It was executed beautifully by Kansept. And at this low price point, I don't see why you'd want to pass on it.